Well, I have with us today Chris, if I can get your name spelled right. Not Di Stefano, Di Stefano.
Di Stefano, well, commonly mispronounced Di Stefano.
Di Stefano.
Di Stefano, yes.
All right, that's great. We are at the Privateer Rum Distillery, is that correct?
Yes.
In Ipswich.
In Ipswich,
Now, it seems to me that Ipswich has been in the rum business like for 381 years. Is that true?
I think Ipswich, as well as lots of New England towns, have been in the rum business for many, many years.
Okay, Chris, now, what's behind us here in this section of the building?
So everything behind us, this is the heart of the distillery. This is where the magic happens. So in terms of equipment, what you're seeing behind you is a bunch of fermenters. There's 4 fermenters.
Yeah.
It's where we start the process. And then next to that is Pilgrim. All of our stills have names.
Oh, really?
So Pilgrim is our stripping still. And he's named Pilgrim after Mr. Cabot's most successful fighting ship from 1750.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we can get into what Pilgrim does in a little bit, but then next to Pilgrim, there's some storage tanks, and then next to Pilgrim is Baldwin, named after the author James Baldwin. And Baldwin is our primary still, where we're actually making rum. And then from there on, more storage tanks, and then vessels in which we hold and age our silver rum.
Yeah.
And then behind me to my left are the barrels in which we age our amber rum.
I want to tell our viewers here that the smell in here is a sweet, pungent smell of rum. Now, what ingredients go into making rum?
Okay, so at Privateer there are 3 primary ingredients.
3.
You've got evaporated cane crystal.
Okay, sugar from sugar cane?
Sugar from cane.
Yep.
Its purest form hasn't been refined.
Okay.
Real boiled brown sugar.
Okay.
And then grade A molasses. Those are the ingredients that we use here at Privateer. All right, so we're looking at the equipment. So essentially everything we do, regardless of what we make, starts in this kettle here. Call this a wash kettle. Okay. So there you see the stairs on the other side. So because we're a craft distillery, everything we do, or the majority of what we do, is by hand. So essentially what we do is we take our ingredients and we pitch them into this kettle here. So again, if we're making silver, it's that evaporated cane crystal and that real boiled brown sugar. And if it's the amber we're making, it's the real boiled brown sugar and the grade A molasses. We pitch those ingredients into this kettle, we fill it with water, and then we heat that kettle to 175 degrees. There's a small little paddle in the bottom there. It moves it all around, and basically what we're going for is a consistent solution. Okay? Whole process takes about 45 minutes. Okay? So once we've got this process finished, we're ready to pump that sugar water out at 175 degrees, and we're going to bring it into one of the 4 fermenters that are behind me. Okay? But at 175 degrees, that temperature is too hot for fermentation. So these are equipped with cooling jackets, and we're going to bring that temperature down somewhere around 74, 75 degrees. And then this is where we introduce our proprietary yeast blend. And as we talked about earlier, this is that fascinating process by which the yeast is going to change the sugar molecules into alcohol. Okay, so at the end of the 6-day period of fermentation, what we have is we're going to take and we're going to pump through soft hoses and we're going to bring it into Pilgrim. Okay, Pilgrim is our first part of distillation, and Pilgrim is a stripping still. Essentially, the basic definition of distillation is we're going to separate water from alcohol, and that's what the job of Pilgrim is. Okay, and the way that works is that we're going to heat that kettle. We're going to bring it to just under a boil because we know that alcohol will turn to a vapor at a lower temperature than water will. So it's going to leave the water in the bottom of the kettle. The alcohol will, in vapor form, begin to rise. It'll rise up into the copper helmet. It'll carry over in the metal arm, and it'll hit the second copper helmet, which is actually a cooling condenser. And at that point, that cooling condenser will turn the alcohol back to a liquid and drop it into the glass receptacle right by Andrew, and that is called a spirit safe, and that is where we'll begin to capture the spirit.
And who is that gentleman right there?
That is Mr. Cabot. That is Andrew Cabot.
Okay.
Our president and founder, yes. All right, and so this still is Baldwin, named after the author James Baldwin. And essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the spirit that we have separated water from in Pilgrim, and we're now refining the process, and we're really shaping the spirit into the alcohol that we want Privateer to be. Okay? So what Pilgrim does is he separates the water from the alcohol, but we've now collected all the alcohol. We've collected molecules that we don't want, that over time consuming of those molecules will make us sick, go blind. So we want to now begin to discriminate and separate out those molecules. So we only want the purest alcohol molecules of the ethanol. Okay? And that is the same alchemy applies here. We're heating, the alcohol is turning to a vapor, rising up through the copper helmet, carried over, hitting a cooling condenser, and being dropped back down into a purer spirit.